Funding provided by...
You work hard to feed them well. That's why at Fairway, we're committed to our foundation of personalized service while treating our customers like family and valuing our employees. Fairway Meat and Grocery, that's what we're all about.
By Muscle Lighting, the sports lighting specialists, providing lighting systems for you, your project, and your community. We move to the late afternoon at the state softball tournament at the Harlan and Hazel Rogers Sports Complex on the north side of Fort Dodge. We're in Webster County, and we're featuring two teams from eastern Iowa. For the whole ball of wax in Class 2A, it is the upset special, the Wilton Beavers and the Iowa City Regina Regals. It's 6 versus 4 in Class 2A. Along with Laura Leonard, I'm Paul Yeager. Glad to have you here in this one. One game down, one to go after this one, Laura. So why not make the middle game a rubber game between these two? They've met already in the regular season, but it's really been the upset special for Wilton. They knocked off an undefeated team to get here, and then the number 2 seed to land in the championship game. How are they doing it?
Well, they're doing it with their bats. They've got some good defense behind them. The pitching's been pretty solid as well. But what about Regina? They're the comeback kids. They're the cardiac Regals.
Every time they get down, they seem to battle back as Regina goes and beats number 1 to get here. But let's take a look at Wilton. This is their first time in the championship game. This is their 3rd tournament in the last 5 years. Charlotte Brown, a new pitcher for the program, pitching all the time now and dominating.
Yeah, she really is. She has been really good. They have a lot of confidence in her.
And then for Iowa City Regina, they beat Van Meter, and then they beat number 1 Central Springs. They've been in this title game before, winning it in 11-15, and the game we won't talk about in 2017 that lasted 16 innings. Their 7th trip to state in 10 years. Courtney Kessler, playing for her mom, playing outstanding.
Yeah, she really is. She's their leader on the field defensively, but she's also their leader at the plate.
Let's go upstairs. Tom Fitzpatrick to take us through the pregame introductions.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, softball fans, and welcome to Rogers Sports Complex and Kruger Seeds Field for this 2A state championship game between the visiting team, the Wilton Beavers, and the home team from Iowa City, the Regina Catholic Rebels. Now let's meet your non-starters. First of all, for the visitors from Wilton. Number 10, Eve Watkins-Shanig. Number 13, Callie Langley. Number 14, Grace Madlock. Number 17, Hallie Driscoll. Number 15, Cadence Bourne. Number 19, Audra Koss. And number 20, Lily Kraft. Your assistant coaches, Kara Anderson, Kelly Jannings, Tom Austin, Cameron Meyer, Allison Boston. And now, here's your starting lineup for the Wilton Beavers. Leading off and playing shortstop, number 11, Taylor Drapel. Batting second, in left field, number 8, Kinsey Drake. Batting third, playing right field, number 3, Peyton Surata. Cleanup hitter for the Beavers, doing the pitching, number 4, Charlotte Brown. Batting fifth and doing the catching, number 22, Hadley Madlock. Batting sixth at first base, number 7, Madeline Wade. Batting seventh at second base, number 5, Kaylee Koss. Batting eighth, the center fielder, number 12, Peyton Ganser. And batting in the ninth position, the designated player, number 2, Katie Hook. Your flex player at third base, number 6, Jessica Clark. Head coach for the Beavers, Courtney Deckman. And now let's meet the non-starters for the home team from Regina Catholic. number 1, Natalie Gann. Number 6, Harper Irwin. Number 14, Reese Litton. Number 20, Malia Pursley. And number 21, Ella McLaughlin. Your assistant coaches, Lindy Von Tiger, Craig Stratton, Isabel True. Now, here's your starting lineup for the Regals from Regina. Leading off, playing right field, number 7, Avery Keys. Batting second in center field, number 11, Danny Laughlin. Batting third and doing the catching, number 8, Courtney Kessler. Cleanup hitter for the Regals, doing the pitching, number 29, Emma Nybauer. Batting fifth at shortstop, number 9, Gabby Supel. Batting sixth, the designated player, number 22, Kennedy Connor. Batting seventh at third base, number 42, Lacey Chambliss. Batting eighth at first base, number 16, Jillian Panther. And batting in the ninth position, the left fielder, number 12, Morgan Gann. Your flex player at second base, number 5, Ellie Clark. Head coach for the Regals, Angela Kessler. Now please turn your attention to our home plate area. The umpires for this contest, as assigned by the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. At first base, Tom Berger. At third base, Jeff Niehaus. And calling the balls and strikes, Jason Lewis. All right. Who's ready to win a state championship?
And who's ready to watch a state championship game? I am. How about you too, Laura?
I am, absolutely.
Here's your defense for the Regals. Gann, Laughlin, and Keys in the outfield. Panther at first, Clark at second, Supel at short, and Chambliss at third. Your catcher is Courtney Kessler, and your pitcher is Emma Nybauer. That's a look at your defense for Regina, who comes into this game with a record of 23-11. Nybauer is pretty darn good in the circle, Laura. It's easy to say that in the state tournament game, but why?
Well, she's just level-headed, and she's not going to overpower you. She will move the ball. She will work all corners of the zone, but she just has that confidence in the circle, and that's what it gets it done for her, and she has a good defense behind her.
And you just saw her stats there, just over 1 on the ERA, and the Beavers will send this lineup: Drapel, Drake, Surata, Brown, Madlock, Wade, Koss, Ganser, and Hook as your lineup for Wilton, which is 28-6. And what is it going to take for the Wilton Beavers to win?
Well, they need to make a statement early. They want to put the pressure on this Regina team, see if they can score right away. And then in Brown, we trust. Charlotte Brown has been their go-to pitcher, and she has been their steady player all season long. And then for Regina, just go out and have fun. You talk to every player on the team, and you say, what do you need to do to win? They said, just to have fun. And then have that next pitch mentality. If you make an error, forget about it. Put it away. Go to the next pitch. If you swing at a bad pitch, forget about it. Go to the next pitch. And that they need to have that kind of mentality.
92 degrees. It feels like 99 out there. The wind is out of the south-southwest at 12 miles an hour. A little less than last game. And we should see it die down just a little bit as this game wears on, because the first pitch is coming your way right now at 5:09, and it's hit into left field for a base hit. Drapel takes the first offering past Chambliss, and Wilton's one on with one pitch.
Being aggressive at the plate, and they are trying to make a statement early, as Chambliss was pulled in just a little bit at third base, but that was a rocket by her down the left field line.
Kinsey Drake will bat, a freshman in that 2 slot. Shows bunt, pops it up into the air, it bounces fair and then rolls foul, touched in foul territory. It's where the ball is touched. That's your quiz from game 1.
Yeah, that's part of the test, and where it's touched, where it falls, you just have to figure it out. The umpires had it right in the first game.
The 0-1 coming to Drake. Shows bunt again, and it hits her on the rib. And she'll go down, so not only does she advance the runner, she gets to stay on base too. So now Drapel will go to second, Drake to third, and the senior, Peyton Surata.
Well, you know, when somebody's going to bunt, they're squaring up, they're giving themselves up. You want to throw them up and in. And that's exactly what Nybauer did, but got too much in.
First pitch, holds back on a ball that's high. And Nybauer, and what the appeal to first says that Peyton did swing. So it's now flip that count, 0-1. Lifted towards third, coming over and falling down and landing in fair territory. Supple fell down, and at third is going to be Drapel. Drake at first, and Surata on an infield hit.
Yeah, I got time.
The wind, I don't know, but all of a sudden putting on the brakes to try to get back for it was Supple. She fell down.
And I do think the wind played a factor in that, and that one, yes, it fell fair and then went foul, but it was beyond the third base bag, so therefore a fair ball, even though nobody touched it. But the runners, being smart, continued to move.
Coach Kessler goes out there, and one of the different, there's the wind, there's a look at the flag that's between the two diamonds here at Harlan Rogers, and that is blowing pretty much straight center, home plate to center, a little bit towards right. Charlotte Brown looking to help herself. First pitch, foul down the third base line. Not foul by much, man. So we went in that first game with a whole lot of quick pitching and movement, and all of a sudden here we are, 3 batters, bases loaded, nobody out, and only like 7 pitches.
Well, and Drapel, leading off in foul territory, had to tightrope over the top of that one, but that's why you lead off in foul territory.
Comebacker to the mound, back to home for the force out. Drapel's erased. Brown goes to first on a fielder's choice. Everybody move up 1. So we see that one come right back to Nybauer.
13 for your pitcher.
So Brown gets on base, and they're going to bring in the courtesy runner, Kelly Langley.
13 for the pitcher. 13.
So still bases loaded, and Hadley Madlock, the junior catcher, digs in. Swings and misses, strike 1. On the season, a .355 hitter, 6 home runs and 29 RBIs. If you were watching that first game, just get the ball in the air and you never know what's going to happen here.
Well, and I think the game plan and the mindset, great grab behind the plate by Kessler, is to be aggressive at the plate. Let's go after these pitches. Let's get ahead in the count. And they have been able to do that and load up the bases.
The 1-1 coming. Swung on and missed. Great place for a changeup. And where I say a great place, it's because this is a rarity, Laura. The catcher, Kessler, calls the pitches. She's not looking into the dugout.
No, that hardly happens at all.
Well hit up the middle, base hit. 1 run scores. And it's still going to be bases loaded, but Wilton strikes first on an RBI single by Hadley Madlock.
Time.
Madlock goes down in the zone and able to kind of golf that ball out into the outfield to bring across the first run. Good piece of hitting.
I think we have another runner, right?
Yes.
It is Eve Watkins-Schoening.
All right, infield still playing in. Try to get that force at the plate.
First pitch to Wade. Madeline Wade is outside. Laura, you talked about it in the open, the comeback kids. The Regals were down in both of their contests to qualify for this final. One of the things that Kessler, the player, said, we made some adjustments after those first 2 innings. They are not going to have the luxury, if they can't make adjustments in this first inning, of making too much of, if things continue the way they are for Wilton.
Yeah, and she said, okay, we made those adjustments. Coach Kessler said she did it on her own as far as making the adjustments in the calling of the pitches. And I want to go back to that because there are not a lot of catchers that will call the game anymore. When I was playing and coming up, all the catchers called their own game. They worked with their pitchers. They knew exactly what they were going to do. They knew the scouting report, and they did it that way. And then as the game has evolved, we've seen players and the catchers and the pitchers look to the dugout as the coaches start calling the pitches. Very few and far between you do have a catcher that understands the game so well that they can make that call and make those adjustments with the pitcher.
The 1-2 upstairs from Neibauer. And it evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Wade at the plate, the senior first baseman. Watkins Schoening at first, Langley at second, Surata at third. 1 in so far for Wilton. That one change up, not close, and you saw Neibauer tap herself like that's on me.
Yeah, just hung on to that one a little bit too long. They had the call, knew what they wanted to do, just hung on to it, and it floated to the outside part of the plate.
Hit in the air, behind short, Supel. Infield fly is called, so the batter is out. The runners can advance at their own discretion. So Wade is retired for the 2nd out of the inning. But it's still bases loaded, and Kaylee Koss to try to extend it for Wilton.
Hey, 2 outs, you're scoring.
First pitch, misses.
If Regina can get out of this just giving up the 1 run, leaving the bases full, that's huge momentum for them. And that goes back to making those adjustments right here in the top of the first.
The 1-0 is lifted foul and out of play. About 8 feet behind that first base fence. Kaylee Koss, there's a look inside the Wilton dugout. They're trying to make some noise. They're all hanging on the fence on this 1-1. Holding up is Koss.
A good discipline at the plate, holding off of that pitch. Sometimes you get over anxious in this situation. You got the bases loaded. You want to get a base hit, and you swing at some bad pitches, and she has not.
That changeup lands in for a called strike. Our home plate umpire, Jason Lewis.
2-2.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bases loaded, 1 in so far, and the count will go full.
Well, bases loaded, full count. You get things rolling on the base paths. So anything in the gap is going to score 2, maybe 3 runs.
The pitch, lifted out of play and foul. And runners are going on contact with 2 outs. Neibauer takes a breath. She's a pitch away from getting out of this jam. Again, swung on. This one in play, and almost an incredible play made by Keys down the right field line, but just a step too slow to get there. Or the ball was a step ahead of her. She was hustling.
She was hustling. And you look, this outfield for Regina, all left-handers in the outfield.
That too, a rarity. 8th pitch of the at-bat coming. Again, fouled away, and we'll do it again.
I say she has a good understanding of the game, and I think she has a great understanding of this situation right now and what she's supposed to be doing at the plate, fouling off a lot of pitches with that full count, trying to get a walk.
That was 9, and this is 10.
Or get that base hit. I mean,
Yeah.
she's doing a really good job of spoiling a lot of pitches.
And that can frustrate a pitcher too, right?
Absolutely. You think you've given that hitter your best stuff, and they just foul it off, and it's a little frustrating. You got to dig deep and find something that you can get them out with.
Hit in the air towards right, playable, coming over on the run, Keys in full stride. And the Regina Regals get out of this with only 1 run scoring. Huge moment, write that one down for Regina.
Let's go. Yeah, here we go. Bust it open on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bust it open. Nice job, ladies. Nice job. Hey, you all right? Okay.
So the adjustments made, and now it's time to send the Beavers out on defense. Here's what Wilton will send out. Surata in right, Ganser in center, and Drake in left. Clark at third, Koss at second, Madeline Wade is at first with Taylor Drapel at short. Hadley Madlock, the catcher, and the pitcher is Charlotte Brown. It's time for Brown to shine here, Laura Leonard, as we take a look at her stats. She has come on this season and just been outstanding.
She was an early season replacement as their regular season or regular pitcher going in to the season, suffered an ACL tear, and so she was put into that starting lineup as their pitcher, and she has responded very well.
This is the lineup that the Regals will send. Avery Keys, Danny Laughlin, Courtney Kessler, Emma Neibauer, Gabby Supel, Kennedy Connor, Lacey Chambliss, Jillian Panther, and Morgan Gann is your lineup for Regina. Second-year head coach for the Regals is Angela Kessler. When I say, and there's a look at Courtney Dinkman, coaching for her hometown team. She was a Wilton player herself. Her sister's her first base coach. And as we move into the 2A, 1A games, that becomes more and more of an event. And there, as we look at the first base coach for Regina, which is Lindy Van Tiger, the 1-0. Swung on and missed by Avery Keys. Keys, Danny Laughlin, and Courtney Kessler to bat for Regina. That pitch is fouled off into the net.
Well, this is the table setter for Regina. And you can see the adjustment made by Wilton defensively.
Foul ball off Keys. It hit her in the box, so she'll get another chance, but it still will be 1 ball and 2 strikes.
See, at third base, Clark is pulled in, Koss is pulled in. They're about even with the pitcher.
That one goes high. And they're trying to cut down that speed that Keys has out of the box. Brown looks to her left arm. Fouled into the net. Back behind home.
And just looking to get a pitch that she can handle, that she can put on the ground and use that speed, and that's why they've got that adjustment. If she can just dump one over the top of Clark, right into that area where nobody is, she could run all day. She could get to second base on that.
This will be an illegal pitch that was called before.
Give me a little bit more separation before you come together.
Okay,
Thank you.
Jason Lewis says, give me some separation. Which means?
Just
Ball in the
No more
hand
time.
and the glove. And I didn't see that last pitch to really see what she had done.
there were 3-2.
We're going to take a look here as she lines up,
Ball.
making sure that there is separation as we get the walk before she makes that pitch. It's not one continuous motion.
So Keys will go to first, and Danny Laughlin will bat, the junior center fielder. Punched over the Drapel's glove and into left field. It'll be a base hit for Danny Laughlin.
And that's how you beat that adjustment and that shift defensively. Came up on it and just punched it over the top of Drapel, who gave a great effort trying to climb the ladder to get it.
That was a textbook slap right there.
That really was.
Something that maybe Gail Blevins taught her, the former University of Iowa coach, who was her hitting coach until Danny said, I was learning from Gail until I was 10. And that's when she retired.
It's a good teacher to have.
Courtney Kessler, 412 hitter, a 1 home run and 22 RBIs. Courtney, who's committed to Minnesota State Mankato.
Ball.
And I saw her future head coach here earlier this week.
We've had a lot of college coaches that have come to this tournament all week long. A lot of great prospects.
Hit in the air towards right, but not moving much more than an inch is Surata. Trying to move up the runners. It is successful. Kessler at least gets those across. Avery Keys goes to third. Laughlin goes to second. So it'll be second and third with 1 out.
Serrata doing a great job of getting behind that fly ball. Throws just a little bit offline, but base runners taking advantage of the situation, seeing where the ball was hit, getting back, getting tagged up, and advancing.
Emma Neibauer swings at the first pitch, hits it into right, and it's going to be a tie game. And here come the Regals, and they're going to take the lead. Emma Neibauer helps her cause. First she gets out of the inning with the pitching, then she does it with the hitting.
Coach Kessler never let up. She was sending the runners the entire time. And throwing into the infield, I think she saw that unfolding right in front of her, and she wasn't coming up throwing to the plate, so she went ahead and sent the runner.
Gabby Supel, the sophomore. First pitch ball.
How about Neibauer, only senior on this team? So a young team. And she said, yeah, it's kind of crazy that I'm the only senior and I'm gonna not be able to play with these girls anymore after the championship game.
Supel hits it to right, and it's a catch made there by Surata. It'll be up to the freshman Kennedy Connor. You know, Regina, over the years, we've seen lots of great players, lots of good teams that have come in. Regina, last year, back at the state tournament, both years of Kessler's coaching the Regals, she's brought the team to state.
She had coached a lot of these players as they were younger, and the position opened up, and some of the seniors last year came to her and said, we'd sure like to have you come be our coach at Regina. And she said it was such a great group of kids that she couldn't turn them down, and she goes, look, we ended up at state last year, and here we are in the title game.
Connor, the pitch. Hit right there at the dugout of her teammates. Kennedy, one of those freshmen, said the team really welcomed me in, really kind of made me feel a part of things, and it can be a scary time for a freshman. That pitch gets away from Madlock, and that's going to allow Neibauer to go down to second. So now a base hit could score another run.
And this is a team that thought maybe this is going to be a rebuilding year, as they graduated 6 seniors a year ago, and just the 1 senior on the team, 3 juniors, so a lot of new faces on this team. But they said there was this area within the season where they had some games back to back to back that they defeated some pretty quality teams, and the players started thinking, okay, well maybe we can put it all together, and maybe we can get to state.
The 2-2. Caught! As it's put on a line by Connor. Clark dives to her left, ends the threat.
Let's go, let's go. Intensity, right now. Score more. 1, 2, 3, score more. Right here.
So how did the 2 teams get here, you ask, in Class 2A? Well, play started on Tuesday afternoon. North Union beat Louisa Muscatine. Wilton came back to beat previously undefeated Logan Magnolia. Then Central Springs took out Mount Ayr. Regina came back from being down on Van Meter, then beat Central Springs, the number 1 seed in the tournament. Wilton beat North Union, the number 2 seed in the tournament. And that's how you end up with 2 teams who are not but 30 minutes away. And in that consolation game, Central Springs beat North Union 9-3. Iowa City, Regina in Iowa City. Wilton, north of Muscatine, east of Iowa City, and west of the Quad City area. That's your geography lesson, just off of I-80. You know the famous landmark, the Candy Kitchen. It's one of those political hotspots and visitor hotspots from anybody. And they go through Wilton. Normally a very strong boys athletic program, but it's been the girls. This is the first time that softball's been in the title game for Wilton. 1994, girls basketball was in the title game against Solon. And the previous team that was in the state finals was 1948, when they were still known as Wilton Junction. And they lost to Camrar. There's a little bit of time between those appearances.
A lot of time between those appearances, but now all of a sudden they're showing up on a regular basis.
Peyton Ganser, Katie Hook, and Taylor Drapel. That's 8-9-1 for Wilton. This game started at 5:10 tonight. It's scheduled right on time because we go on the air at 5. This is game 2 of 3 today. The 1-1. Well, Ganser wanted it at first, held up the swing, and then it was a called strike.
A lot of these players going to go on and play softball in college. Ganser, one of them, going to go to Upper Iowa.
In Fayette, Iowa. Should I do the geography
do
of them?
the geography there.
Fayette, Northeast Iowa. We'll just be easy. You could call it a suburb of West Union, but you don't. That'll get people upset up there, so I won't. The 1-2. It's bounced in. Upper Iowa, which used to be a member of the Iowa Conference, now they have moved up to a division where they play teams to the north. They are on the road a lot up towards Minnesota, the Dakotas. The 2-2, fouled back.
We've got a lot of representation for different schools throughout the state of Iowa and into Minnesota. These players are going to attend next year.
If you're a good softball player, they'll find you. That pitch is low.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
And there's a lot of discussion. I didn't mean to get on the soapbox, but here I'm going to. There's a lot of girls that are not playing high school softball because they've been told that they're going to have a better chance playing club ball. Hard hit foul down the third baseline. And coaches will tell you, yeah, it's harder for us to get from Wilton to Iowa City to Twin Cedars on a 3-night game when I can watch a showcase against good competition.
Sure.
I buy that. But if your stats and your movement and your analytics now hold up, you'll be found.
Well, and you know, a lot of these games are aired now in whatever form or format. A lot of these schools are putting their games up for viewing, and so you may not have to do as much travel, but I'm going to tell you, here in the state of Iowa, you can't do any better than the quality of softball players we have, top to bottom, Class 1A to 5A.
Coming in to run is Audra Koss. And frankly, Laura, it is a tough battle for a lot of coaches. The ball is punched, fielded by Nybauer. She throws high, and the great height of Jillian Panther again comes into play there.
Well, not only does she have the good height over there, kept the toe on the bag, but she's got great hands over at first base as well. That's what you want out of your first baseman, is somebody that can pick it out of the dirt, can save your other fielders if they make a bad throw, and she has that height and that stretch and the good hands.
Sacrifice bunt brings up the top of the order. First pitch lifted into the net. Thought I was going to maybe hang up on Taylor Drapel's bat. Koss is at second. Yeah, coaches are having a battle. There's some coaches that will allow that, and there'll be some that don't. As Iowa's the only state that plays in summer, so there's that conflict.
We would have been hard-pressed to play softball here this spring in the state of Iowa. I'm not sure how many games would have been able to be played with the weather that we had. We had some great days, but we had some cold days and rainy days. And
well, Ron Farrell, the head coach in the previous game for Assumption, is also the head coach at St. Ambrose, and they played in the spring. I said, how was your spring? He says, awful. He says, and they have a turf field, and they struggled to get games in. He says, actually, the hardest thing was transportation. He said that if they, they schedule out in advance, this is when the buses, but if they say there was a rain out, they're going from Tuesday to Friday, they had a hard time finding a bus.
yeah, because they were already booked for something else.
For somebody else. I said, well, you're just going to have to drive your own team bus. The 0-2 coming here to Taylor Drapel. Low, and throw down to third. Gets Koss. And that was a nice play there by Kessler.
Kessler stayed right with it. I don't think she ever took her eyes off of the runner as that ball caromed away from her, and she got to it quickly, made a great throw right at the bag, right where it should be, so you don't have to reach up and put the tag down. The ball was right there, so you could lay the tag down, and Chambliss did a great job of doing that.
And now Taylor Drapel, the 1-2 pitch with 2 outs. Hit foul. 1.5 feet on the wrong side of the bag for her. Nybauer got out of the last inning with a little Houdini-like magic. This inning a little more in control. Goes outside with that pitch.
And she's a pitcher that's just going to outsmart you. She even says, I'm not overpowering. She knows that. and she knows I just need to think more about it and be one step ahead of the hitter.
Off speed, hit back up the middle. Drapel's on with a 2-out hit. So Drapel led off the game with a hit and has another one here in the second. So she's 2 for 2 early on, and that'll bring in Kinsey Drake, the left fielder, who was hit by a pitch in her last plate appearance.
This is where it all started in that first inning. Top part of the order, they were able to load them up.
Swung on and missed by Drake, the freshman. Looks down, taps her helmet. That pitch is low. Drake, if you're like, sounds familiar. Not just the rapper from Canada or the school you went to. Chopped at third. Chambliss goes up across to Panther to end the inning and leave a runner on base.
Let's go. Right here. Let's go. Let's go. One more time. Hey, more runs here. More runs.
I think she's pitching outside to everyone.
Hey, so keep your shoulder. Hey, if she's pitching you outside and it's not moving, keep your shoulder on the ball and come through to extension. Drive it.
She's moving a little.
Everything she's going to throw to our first batter, Avery. Here we go. Reball in 3. 1, 2, 3.
Reball. Let's go. Nice job, ladies. Good job.
Did you catch that last part? She threw everything to our first batter that she has. You don't think that all these girls are watching every single pitch, every single at-bat? Let's take a look in slow-mo on many of the types of pitches and the way that Brown throws them.
She has such great extension. She's got a lot of length, and that arm whip is so good. She will spin it as well, and that's, in the past, pitchers have tried to overpower hitters. We're seeing a lot of pitchers now that they have a lot of movement, a lot of spin. They get their ball to rise, to drop. And in the past, we've just seen a lot of pitchers just throw a lot of heat. But all these pitchers we're seeing today and throughout the tournament, they have really worked on their craft.
There is a discussion among softball types that we just don't have that overpowering dominant pitcher anymore. Is that true? Is the hitting caught up? The pitching stabled? Too many innings on an arm?
I just don't think, and I'm trying to think back. One person that comes to mind is Paige Lowry.
Yep.
And she is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, I believe, later on tonight.
Near diving attempt made by Koss. It'll be just a long foul ball here for Lacey Chambliss.
But she was a power pitcher. She had pure speed, and she could throw it by anybody. But she also had some other stuff, too, that she could keep the hitters guessing. I don't know if we've had a pitcher that has been that powerful that I can recall over the last few years. But I also think it's a part of that they're kind of honing their craft a little bit. They're working on more things to try to be able to get the ball to move and jump and hit spots rather than just try to throw it down the middle and say, all right, here's my best, here's my fastest, try to hit it type of pitcher.
Well, you could say that previously speed would get you out of a lot of at-bats as a pitcher. But now so many of these hitters play so many games, they can hit the speed. It's the movement and the location.
Yeah, and if you have, I think Nybauer is a great example of that because she's not overpowering, but she's been so successful of being able to outsmart hitters and hit different corners and get the ball to move that, you have to figure out different ways to beat these hitters because the hitters are getting better and stronger.
They spend a lot of time in the cage. They spend a lot of time looking at tape. And sometimes they faced a pitcher 2 previous games.
Well, and this game is a good example of that.
Chambliss waves and misses. First strikeout of the game for Brown, and there's one away for Jillian Panther. Okay, so you said Paige Lowry. I'm going to say another game that player that we saw who had a very big state tournament a few years ago, and Amber Pfizer.
Amber Pfizer, who went up to Minnesota and played, and had a successful career there.
But we're talking 6-7 years ago for her. In fact, she beat Assumption, I think, in that title game that year. And Paige Lowry, it's been longer than we think.
Yeah.
And a lot of these teams have multiple pitchers, though, now, too.
Yeah, they have a number 1 and a number 2. A lot of teams do. A lot of teams don't. A lot of teams just go with the one pitcher, and yeah, they may have a backup that's up and coming, maybe doesn't have the experience. They may have to go to that pitcher every once in a while, but more often than not, especially when you get into the 2As and the 1As, you're probably just going to have that one pitcher that you roll with.
And Charlotte Brown, like we said in the Open, she wasn't the, on January 1, she wasn't, or on October 1 of last year, she wasn't going to be the starting pitcher for Wilton.
No.
Injuries happen, and here she is in the state title game. Fouled off with a ripped right toe on her pitching shoe.
That shows you how many innings she's pitched right there. That's got a lot of tape on it. That's got I mean, it's been taped and retaped numerous times.
176 innings pitched coming into the tournament.
Now, I'll tell you how old I am. They used to have pitching toes that would slide right over the top of the shoe and lace on, and had a little metal bar to keep it from when you drug your toe. I don't know if they have those anymore. I'm kind of out of the loop as far as pitching goes, but I think that would be a good case for that to be on that shoe.
But let's go back to the superstitious discussion. Yeah, I can go get new shoes, but I pitch really well in these. Why would I change, Mom, Dad?
You don't. You just keep
Coach?
putting the tape on it. You find ways to tape them up and to continue to use it.
Morgan Gann, a ball and a strike here as Charlotte Brown winds and fires with 2 outs. That one's hit towards left, hangs up long enough for Drake to come in and make the grab and finish off the inning. 3 up, 3 down. All of the Regals have now batted.
3 up, 3 down for the Regals, and they're half of the second out of the third.
Here we go.
Well, we talked about one pitcher in slow-mo. Let's show another.
Are we over there?
This is always kind of fun to see as we captured this last inning. So we're going to look at Neibauer.
Look at her extension as well. And she is, we've talked about already, that she gets a lot of spin on the ball. She has several pitches that she has perfected, understands how to work inside and outside on the plate, up and down in the zone. And again, just outsmarts hitters.
It's the game within the game. And frankly, Laura, I love that. To me, that's what makes it fun, is I'm trying to outsmart you. If you think in my 3 previous at-bats against you, you've started me in, out, up, whatever. This time we're going down the middle, or what, everybody's always trying to outsmart it.
Well, and you have to believe that somebody's in the dugout charting all that and looking for a pitch sequence that might happen. And those hitters, when they go up to the plate, they know that.
Neibauer goes to work here in the top of the 3rd. She'll face Peyton Surata, Charlotte Brown, and Hadley Madlock. First pitch is a ball. Surata is a 5-year varsity starter. She's also the daughter of Jake Surata, who coaches the Wilton Beavers baseball team. Now she, too, she hits it high in the air to right. Get up, get over, get gone. That's a home run. Peyton Surata.
Well, I think what you were going to say is that she also had to overcome an ACL injury during basketball season, and I think she just proved that she's back to 100% with that nice looping swing. It was so easy and so smooth, and got it out front and drove it out of the park.
Well, they're going to track down that home run ball. She didn't even use her legs, Laura. That was all arms.
That was all arms, and it just was it was when you saw it live, it was just a smooth kind of looping swing that made contact.
And that, I think, left the park. I think that went over both fences. Here's one hit hard to left. And that's going to go all the way to the wall. Charlotte Brown is going to be in with the stand-up double. Back-to-back extra base hits for the Beavers. First it's Surata, now it's Charlotte Brown.
Yeah, they're coming up here in the second inning or the third inning like they did in the first inning with the hitting shoes on, being aggressive at the plate, getting good cuts, seeing the ball very well. Langley going to be in at second base, running as the courtesy runner.
And Hadley Madlock swinging like she wants to hit a home run. Oh, it's like, all right, I got it.
Wait, Neibauer had to get out of the way of that. Kessler was trying to throw behind the runner, and Neibauer had to kind of do a little matrix move to get out of the way of that throw.
And now we have the handoff. And speaking of coach, I believe that is Jake Serrata. Kind of hard to coach baseball when your daughter's playing softball and be focused on both teams, but you get to as many games as you can. And you know, it's kind of fun to talk to some of those coaches, and you'll be like, I just like being a dad right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They like to put all the other stuff behind them, just like to be the fan and the spectator and support their daughter.
8th home run on the season. Little punch shot down the line. Foul for Madlock. As Langley will go back to second base. It'll be 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hadley's sister, Grace, is the pitcher we've kind of been talking about a little bit here today. She's in the dugout. She's with this team, just not cleared to play. She hangs on that fence. She wears the number 14.
But planning to be back next year, so think about this pitching staff.
Oh my gosh. I was thinking about that yesterday. The 2-2. Swung on and missed. And Madlock's down. First out of the inning. First strikeout of the game for Neibauer.
So this Wilton team will have 2 starting pitchers next year when Madlock comes back and rehabbed off of that ACL. So that's going to be a nice problem for them to have. I mean, you've got a 1-2 rotation.
And now you'll graduate Peyton Serrata, seniors, hit the home run today, and Peyton Ganser, another senior in the starting lineup, and the batter right now, Madeline Wade. But really, how many teams you have to start with pitching? That one's a little late swing foul down the first base line for Madeline Wade. And there is the sister of head coach Courtney Dankman. It's, now, when she was a player, they went to state in 2009. Kara Anderson is her name, and Kara in 09, they were able to get to the state tournament. What's that like coaching with your sister? You know, we've seen that in other teams. And
1-2.
is there a good sister and a, you know, you have to, you can't really play it that way, but always kind of a fun dynamic.
I think that they...
Hit towards right, first coming in is Keys, and then she retreats and makes the grab for the second out of the inning.
You know, it's kind of a good relationship to have as coaches, because you can obviously maybe be a little unfiltered with one another. You can say whatever you want to say. and they can agree to disagree, or they can disagree and come to an agreement and figure out whatever is best for the team. And I think they do a good job of that.
Now, Kara played at Simpson. No, Courtney played at Simpson. Let me get that right. And that one is popped up in foul territory by a foot. And Koss is gone on the pitch there. And so she is out on the foul ball.
Just like we just started, let's get these hits going. Let's do it.
Bounce the ball, 3, 1, 2, 3,
Bounce the ball. Nice job, ladies. Let's go. Let's go. Nope,
It's
you're good.
always an interesting time when you listen into these coaches. And we had the opportunity to not only listen to Coach, we actually get to ask her questions mid-game. All right, that first inning. Yeah, you load the bases a couple of times, maybe left a couple of runners on. What'd you tell the girls afterwards, or what were you thinking?
You know, we just told them to keep the momentum going. We are two familiar teams with each other, and so we just wanted to put the bat on the ball, and we'll try to keep the momentum going.
When we talked to you before, you knew who your final opponent was going to be. Does it make it easier when it's somebody that you know, or harder when it's someone that you've played already twice?
You know, we've played them twice. We split with them. We said that it kind of takes away the unknown. So it kind of, you know, takes a little bit of the nerve away because we know what batters are going to do. We have their stats, so it is what it is.
And your pitcher's about to take over. What's she doing well for you?
You know, she's just putting the ball where it needs to be, letting our defense do their work, and she's doing an awesome job.
All right, Coach, thank you so very much. That's Courtney Denkman.
All right, thank you.
Head coach, and now she's we're going to hold the game for her. It's all right. That's all part of the action, and I love the access that the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union allows us to have and get the insight from from coaches and get to hear what the umpires have to say. And again, I think it's a little bit of a learning experience for everyone, because if you've not been a coach in a state championship game, what do you say when you go out into a different scenario, right, Laura?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's always learning. I don't think that you ever reach your plateau of learning things in this game. And if you're a coach that is willing to accept all that and maybe adjust your game and adjust your thought process, you're going to evolve with the game. And so each and every moment you go out and play, it's a new experience.
Ball hit towards first. Quick play by Koss to Wade to retire Avery Keys for the first out of the third inning. And you know, Laura, the PBS model is always about learning at all stages in life. That's what we're here to do.
Right? We're here to teach. We're here to learn. That's what I love about Iowa PBS.
You know, and this is such a fun, you know, this is a little bit of a deviation from the normal activities that we do. Then we get to do these sports and get a chance to go in depth and commercial free, all 99 counties across the state, on the web, around the world, thousands watching online, and teams watching this as they come into a game or head home, or coaches watch it over and over again. And that's when I say I apologize that you had to listen to me over and over. The 2-2, or the 0-1 pitch is swung on a miss by Danny Laughlin.
Did you ever think they might just put it on mute?
I hope they do. Except, Laura, I will tell you, I had Amy Ostwinkle, at the time was the girls' basketball coach. I think she still is at Western Dubuque. She saw me one year at stage. She goes, I am sick and tired of hearing your voice. Punched up the middle for a base hit, Danny Laughlin, because they had lost the title game the year before, and she couldn't stop watching that game. And I said, you know, you can put it on mute. Base hit for Laughlin. Courtney Kessler will get a chance. And I make sure I ask, I know one of my questions to Angela Kessler here will be about her daughter and the adjustments made in that first inning. We'll get to that interview after the Regals bat, but Kessler, Neibauer, and Supel due up here yet in this inning. First pitch is high from Brown.
You know, want to go back to that at bat with Laughlin. It was a great piece of hitting, and she just punched it right back up the middle. The defense again was adjusted for that left-handed slapping hitter, and she was able to just enough momentum to punch it out.
And that's punched into right. It's going to go all the way to the wall. It's going to get by Surata and Ganser in right center. Coming around home, Laughlin's going to score standing up. It's an RBI double. Courtney Kessler And the Regals score again. They take a 3-2 lead.
They get the answer after they give that one back. And they're able to get the answer, string together a couple of hits. This one gets all the way to the fence, and because of that, that allows that runner to come around third in Laughlin to score.
Kessler will be at second and then go into the dugout, and she'll have a courtesy runner here.
Well,
That'll
they're
be
gonna
Allie
keep
Clark.
Oh, I thought they were going to keep her in.
Oh, maybe. Oh, they did. They did. Sorry. Yep, Kessler stays.
And and the reason I say that,
Fielded by Clark on the ball put in play by Nybauer. Moves the runner up with 2 outs. And I think what you're trying to say is Coach loves the baseball IQ of her pitcher and catcher.
yeah, she said, you know, a lot of coaches will substitute or have that courtesy runner for their pitcher and their catcher, but they just don't do that because these two players are so smart about running the bases. And so when you have that good softball IQ out there, understanding how to run the bases, you don't want to take them out.
Swing and a miss by Gabby Supel, the sophomore shortstop. I know I say it many, many years when we do games, Laura, it's like we're just getting used to these two teams. We could easily see these two do battle again because sophomore, Supel, sophomore, Keys, junior, Laughlin, junior, Kessler. I mean, Nybauer's the only senior that starts for this Regina team.
Only senior at all on the team.
0-2.
And you talked about how the seniors last year graduated and kind of set them up for this run here.
Yeah, they graduated 6 seniors a year ago. And so you had to bring up some of the, I mean, you had to fill those spots. And they just weren't sure if these players were going to be ready. But as the season wore on, and you mentioned it, the freshmen, there's a couple of freshmen in the lineup, juniors, several sophomores. They all just have really gelled together to get this team to the title game.
The 0-2 pitch coming to Gabby Supel. Popped out of play over the fence for Wilton on the first base side and into the area between the two diamonds. We'll do it again. Just after 6 o'clock here, and we are still in a warm afternoon.
Okay, row 2.
Well, the initial forecast when I saw it earlier in the week was it said 100 degrees on Friday, and I went, oh, you have to be kidding me. Only at state softball do we get that hot.
I appreciate all of our crew that's out in the elements, whether it's above the dugouts, in center field, behind home, those in the truck, those chasing down coaches. Coach, you gotta, you know, there's a lot of moving parts here. Swing and a miss for Supel. Third strikeout of the game. Third out of the inning. Not though before Regina gets another run. And as we mentioned, part of the fun is the coach interviews, and Angela Kessler is getting ready to have a conversation with us. And Coach has her headset on now, and Coach, that first inning, yes, you give control to your catcher and pitcher to call pitches. They really adjusted in real time. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, that's nerve-wracking altogether. Our catcher has full control of all pitch calls. She works really well with our pitcher. They've got a special kind of relationship. That's something that you want every pitcher and catcher to have. They just adjust really well. They've done it all week. You just got to trust them to do their job and not try and take it away from them and give them the control. If you're truly entrusting them, then you let them do it and you trust that process and you do it the whole game.
What were the expectations for this game today?
Well, it's kind of fun. I mean, we know every girl on that team. They know every girl on our team. I know that coach, have a lot of respect for her. I absolutely adore a lot of the girls on that team I've coached in the past. we expected it to be a fight. I mean, we don't expect them to roll over. We definitely don't expect them to give us the game. We're going to have to take it if we want it, and everybody on our team knows that today.
Have fun, Coach, the rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right, that's head coach Angela Kessler. And if I was going to ask her one more thing about how's her pitcher doing, I'll ask you, Laura. How's her pitcher doing?
Well, I think her pitcher's doing very well, and yeah, they've given up a couple of runs, and both pitchers have been hit, given up 6 hits and 4 hits. But I want to go back to the talking about the special relationship between the catcher and the pitcher, Neibauer and Kessler. Coach told us that they kind of have their own special language that that they can communicate back and forth, and sometimes flash some signals and signs and whatever. And she goes, I look out there and I'm like, what are they talking about? And so that's a relationship that you want your pitcher and catcher to have, that they know exactly what they're doing, they're on the same page, and they work very well together.
And I asked Neibauer, I go, do you think Courtney could be, is that a coach in training? She goes, yeah.
Oh.
I would think so. I mean, if you're calling pitches at the high school level like this, that's absolutely setting you up for something.
You know, I think it's a different perspective because you're behind the plate, you have command of the game, and you see what's going on. Your mom's a head coach as well, so there's a lot of things that you're talking about, discussing, and things, a lot of things that soak in. And sometimes it's just one of those deals where that's going to be what you do, and maybe she doesn't want to do that. But boy, I think she would be one heck of a head coach.
Well, Gabby Supel had a little something there in the dugout that she had to take care of, and she's back, and we were part of the delay, and then I think we bought her some time too. So we're all ready to go now. But real quick there, look at the sparkles in the hair there. We've seen girls teams paint their hair. I can't say I've seen this much sparkle in the hair.
No, they said that was something they just have done for the state tournament. It's not something that they have done all season long, and they just wanted to do something fun. And that kind of is the theme of this team. Just have fun. Just go out and have fun and play ball. And so they've decided to do the sparkles. And I think some of the players might have overdone it on the sparkles. As you can see, there's a good look.
Well, the pitch to Peyton Ganser is a ball. But let's face it, Laura, they spend a lot of time in the dorms waiting. So today's first pitch was supposed to be at 5. Back that up a couple of hours for warm-up and things like that. They were kind of all sitting around till 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
On a championship day, you know they're just chomping at the bit, ready to go. Supel over to first on the ground ball by Ganser, and that's the first out here in the top of the 4th. So now Katie Hook will come up as we're trying to drink water. And I know that these teams have been pushing water. This summer, you know, we talked about the spring and how cool it was. The summer has not been that way.
No.
There's no surprise that this was going to be a warm week here in Fort Dodge. But let's say what the other thing was. It was dry.
Yeah. Always like to have this week of softball in Fort Dodge. No rain. It can rain all at once up to the week and then after the week, but this week we don't like to have any rain.
Had a little bit of a shower before games got started on Tuesday morning, about 9:30. For about 15 minutes it rained, and then, I don't know, we barely got the pavement wet earlier this morning around 7:30 here in Fort Dodge. As that ball is fouled off.
Hook with a little bit of a surprise, trying to drop down a bunt. Took a look at the defense. Saw that Chambliss was playing back even with the bag. Thought she might have an opportunity to lay one down.
The 1-2 is a ball. Hook swings and fouls it off yet again. and we'll do it all again.
Give me a second, too, okay? Give me a second. Just give me a second.
You could hear Jason Lewis say, just give me a second here. Went over and cleaned off the plate. Not sure if that foul ball got a piece of Kessler. Just giving her a second, an extra second to kind of get things back in order.
The 2-2 is low, bounces away from Kessler. Back into the net. You look at the sweat building there a little bit on Nybauer. I don't think she has a rosin bag out there.
3-2.
You know, I talked to her the other night and asked her about the sparkles. They were all over her. They were all over her face, her arm. They were everywhere. And she goes, I know it's kind of messy, but we kind of like it.
As top of the order comes back up for Wilton to face Nybauer there as Nybauer grabs the rosin. Get a little more tack. Third time up for Drapel. She's 2 for 2. Hit the first pitch of the game to left, and then had a hit in the second. Bats with 2 outs here in the 4th. And that pitch catches the plate. Drapel said we were very excited to be back again at State. They wanted to make sure that everyone knew we were coming and that we're going to fight. Swing and a miss.
Well, and they have done that. I mean, they came back with the mentality of wanting to get, not just be here, but get to that title game, and they have done that. Again, they're a team also that graduated 6 players from a year ago, so they had to do a little rebuilding as well.
Off the hands, into the corner where the on-decks batter stands for the home team. Nobody there right now because Wilton is the visiting team. Drapel was 2 for 4 with an RBI in the quarterfinal. 4 of 5 at the plate with a double and 3 RBIs in the semifinal. She is 8 of 11 in this tournament. And if Wilton were to come and win this game, she'd make a strong case for an all-tournament team, if not captain of that team, just because she's been so successful at the plate.
What a good leadoff hitter for this Wilton team.
Lays off the changeup. The 3-2 pitch coming. Popped up, foul, and back behind into the net. One thing Drapel said she was looking forward to is the intensity of the championship game. Is this game intense?
I would say it is.
It's so full.
I mean, this is a game that so far has kind of started out with a bang. Kind of slowed for a little bit. Now we've got another run again to have the lead switch hands. But yes, they've met before twice this year. Wilton losing the first one, and that was actually the first game of the season. They lost that game 7-1, but then they came back on June 15th and won that game 1-0. So yeah, this is intense. Well, number one is state championship, so yes, it's going to be intense. I mean, it's your mindset and everything's at a whole different level.
3-2 fouled off. We'll do it all again.
And just the fact that you've seen this team twice, you've split with them, and you want to win that rubber game of the 3-game series this year. And what's on the line, there's going to be a lot of intensity. But it looks like both of these teams are playing very loose.
Skied, foul, and out of play. Wanting to win, but really what Taylor Drapel said she wants? A pink shirt.
A pink shirt.
She darn well knew what that was.
Yeah, you know what? That's one of the nice new traditions that Jean Berger implemented when she took over at the Girls Union, those pink T-shirts. That's now become a staple of winning a title. Everybody wants that pink shirt.
The 11th pitch of the at-bat is fouled back into the net. We'll do it again. So now Neibauer's pitch count is starting to climb a little bit. It is well over 70 pitches, approaching 80 on the game, and we're here in the fourth. The 3-2. Oh, boy. Drapel laid off that one.
Thank you.
They ask down at first. Tom Berger says no, she did not go. And so Drapel on board for the third time this afternoon. Kinsey Drake, the top of the order, has been big for Wilton. Can it come up again the third time through the lineup? First pitch strike.
Got a little speed over there at first. They might take a chance here.
Skied, foul territory behind first, coming over. Clark had her eyes up. Panther had turned around, lost that one, and then was able to come back and make the catch. So Clark makes the out, and Wilton's done here in the fourth.
Here we go. Nice job. Let's go. Hey, listen, you guys are best at the plate when you are patient, okay? Be patient up there. This game's no different than the other two games this week, all right? Be patient. Wait for your pitch. Let's go. Pitches to 3, 1, 2, 3. Hits! Nice job. Nice job. Keep it up.
Well, we've had some good pitching so far here today, Laura. Between Brown and Neibauer, both have been three different looks here at some strikeouts.
And look at different location, different spin, all within the zone, all different location.
That was Charlotte Brown that we had a look at there. 3 strikeouts on the game so far. These two pitchers not exactly, I mean, Brown had 223 strikeouts coming into the tournament. I'd say that's not a lot, but it is. But the fans here have seen a whole lot of good softball here today so far. We had a quick-moving game in the first for a while, and then we had some action early, and these fans are pretty sun-soaked after this week. And Wilton has brought a good contingent from Eastern Iowa. It's not a short trip, that's for certain, to get here. Not for either team.
No, but they're happy to do it. Happy to get in the car or the team bus and get on the road to come to Fort Dodge and support their team.
They'll do it any day they can. The 0-1 to Kennedy Connor is a ball.
Ball, just off.
And they say that she has really great bat speed, can get the bat through the zone in a hurry. She hit a line shot in her last at bat over to third base.
Hit foul down the left field line and out of play for Connor. It'll be 2 balls and 2 strikes. For Connor, it'll be Connor, Chambliss, and Panther, and if anybody gets on, Morgan Gann. Here in the bottom of the fourth. 3-2
2-2. Okay, about it.
is your score. Regina on top.
Ball.
Continue to try to work her away, and she is laying off those pitches.
Connor's done a great job in this at-bat, working it all the way to a full. Now she'll be on base with a walk. She does not play like a freshman. I watched Connor earlier this week, and she was so excited to be here, and the team, the way they embraced her. I mean, she was a kid smiling. There you get a good look at her grin right now. She's not sure she gets to stay in right now. I think there's going to be a pinch runner, and there is.
Patient, right? Be patient. Here we go.
She did her job.
It is going to be Kaylee. I'm sorry, not Kaylee Koss. That's the other team. Allie Clark. That's the flex for the DP.
Okay, you're good. You're good.
Bunt is put down, fielded by Brown. Quickly throw down for Clark. She's safe at second, so the job is done by Lacey Chambliss. Excellent work there. 1-3 goes the put out, and that'll bring up Jillian Panther.
Good execution, getting on top of that ball, laying it down, moving that runner up. That's exactly what coach is asking you to do. Advance that runner, sacrifice your at bat to get that runner in scoring position.
Coach Kessler says Jillian Panther does such a... Ball's going to get away from Madlock, and that's going to move up the runner. Clark is going to go down to third. And Regina looking to get maybe one more run. Coach Kessler says that Panther listens to coaching. When we tell her something, she responds. But now she's listening to see, can I find a place to either get a foul, a fly ball, or a base hit, and that'll work. Single to right for Panther. The throw at first, not in time. Panther with the RBI single.
Well, because of the pass ball, it made for an easy score. They might have sent the runner from second base on that. That ball goes to the right side, and Panther just had her eyes on that ball the entire time because she sprinted down to first base, ran it through, didn't think about anything else because they were gonna maybe try to throw her out at first.
Coming in to run for Regina will be Natalie Gann, the freshman.
One for 16.
So Gann will run for Panther. And Morgan Gann, her sister, is at the plate. First pitch strike, throw down to first, not in time.
You always just want to keep that runner close, and that's what Madlock was trying to do. Just a throw down there to just say, you know what, I'm here. I know you're there.
I see what you're doing there.
And try to keep you close.
The 0-1.
Ball down.
Off the plate and down. Morgan Gann 0 for 1 with a fly out. That was to left field. That ended the second. Brown delivers. It gets away again from Madlock, and Gann's going to scoot down to second. So a couple of balls coming off of Madlock's glove.
You got to look those all the way in. You can't afford to let that runner advance because now in scoring position, a base hit could score another run.
Ball.
That one is a ball. You kind of get the sense here right now, Laura, this is a key part in this ball game.
3-1.
Because if Gann can somehow keep this line going, you have the top of the order coming up.
Ball.
She gets on board with a walk, and that's 2 on and 1 out.
Time.
And we're going to have a mound visit.
I'm just thinking that, you know what, maybe it is time to go out and settle everybody down. I think you just need to tell everybody, you know what, just need to get out of this. Don't give up any more runs. If we can get out of this only trailing by 2, we're in good shape.
Get yourself on, baby. Let's have some fun. Let's go. Hey, be you. Be you, 7. Need you.
BU needs you, 7. That's Avery Keys. Listening in there with Coach Kessler. And you get the sense they feel it too right now. This game could change in a hurry. still a 4-2 game with Regina in the lead here in the fourth, but they have 2 runners on and 1 out. First pitch is high from Charlotte Brown.
Ellen struggling a little bit right now to find the zone.
Off-speed hit in the air. It's possible to be played, and it is. Clark, the basket catch underneath the dugout. And that's 2 away. That's a big out for Regina.
That is a big out. That's the kind of thing that they needed to happen. Got the pop-up. Runners could not advance. But now also have somebody in Laughlin who's had the hot bat.
Well, Danny Laughlin, she's 2 for 2. Bats here with 2 outs and 2 on. They first pitch her on a changeup out of the zone. It's Natalie Gann at second. Morgan Gann is at first. And Danny Laughlin at the plate.
That's a good look at the adjustment defensively, how Wilton is playing this.
Oh, what a pitch. Oh, that one just fluttered, and boy, Laughlin's smiling about it. Like, I think I misguessed.
Yeah, you can see, and hitters know that. I mean, they see it and they think, oh, that's one I can handle. And then it does something late. The movement drops off the table and swing right over the top of it.
She pulls it foul down the first base side. Kind of talked about that with you in the first game about, do slappers always go opposite? And that time she pulled it down because that's where the pitch was, right?
Yeah, and if you can handle the bat and see the ball, make that adjustment in the box, you can turn on one, and she almost did right there. But the adjustment is that Wade is playing back behind first base, so that would have been a close race to the bag.
Swing and a miss, and Wilton escapes. The Regals strand 2, 4 strikeouts for Brown now. And they score 1, make it 4-2. Well, today we woke up, Laura, to some sad news in the Iowa softball world and basketball world. Longtime Cedar Rapids Jefferson coach Larry Niemeyer passed away overnight. He was 84. Coach Niemeyer has the distinction of being the all-time winningest softball coach in the United States with 2,089 wins. Not only did he coach softball, but he coached basketball as well at Jefferson. And just, you know, I had a chance to, Brian Irby, the coach, who's not the coach anymore at Jefferson, was talking about Larry Niemeyer and just kind of some of the health issues that he'd been having, and just had a new granddaughter. But that is a big loss for softball in Iowa.
A huge loss, and Coach Niemeyer was one of the best. Loved going to his basketball camps when I was growing up, that was when he was at Adel. And I learned so much from him, and I do have to say he gave me some advice and gave me some guidance, and it made me a better player than when I went to camp and when I left camp, and I will always love him for that. He was such a great figure in not only the basketball world, but the softball world.
And then earlier this year, Dick Rasmussen, the longtime coach at Ankeny, he also was at South Hamilton. Not only did Dick coach in basketball, he also coached softball. 1,165 softball wins, 27 state appearances, 13 titles. There he is at the field that bears his name at Ankeny, Dick Rasmussen Field. He was 85, good friend. Tough to lose him as well. 2 big coaches this year that we've lost in Iowa that meant a lot to the game in the 70s, 80s, and 90s in this state.
Had a chance to get to know Coach Rasmussen, not only as when I was a player and we would play those really, really good Ankeny teams, not only in basketball and softball, you could never beat them, but as I graduated and went on to play at Drake and just always stayed in touch with him, and what a great guy. Couldn't have been a nicer man, great coach, knew the game, understand how to treat the players. And it is 2 big losses for the state of Iowa in the girls' athletic world.
And in 2 different parts of the state that certainly overlapped against one another. And you know, yes, Cedar Rapids, Jefferson, and Ankeny were in the same class, but a lot of their years, everybody was in their class. It was one class in softball.
Yeah, it was. It was a 16-team tournament. It was the same way in basketball before we went to classes. And, boy, you would always see when Coach Niemeyer was at Adel, the Adel basketball teams and softball teams would get to state, so would Ankeny, and they just laid the foundation for where girls athletics are right now in the state of Iowa.
Peyton Serrata strikes out for the third strikeout for Neibauer. That'll bring up Charlotte Brown and Hadley Madlock as we see how this pitch. Oh, that one. Gee, many Christmas, good drop on that.
Yeah, that was up and then just fell off the table.
So Serrata had the home run in her last at bat, strikes out there. Charlotte Brown had the double. Trying to help herself and get climbed back into this ball game. They're down by 2. They need a base runner. Do the Wilton Beavers. Swing and a miss by Brown. Neibauer, a little bit of confidence now, has an extra run to work with. At what point does an extra run keep adding to your confidence level?
No, I think every time, I know the 1-run lead is comforting, but when you have 2, it's even a little bit more comforting as a pitcher. Gives you a little bit more freedom to do some things as a pitcher and catcher that you need to do to get the outs.
The 1-2 on the way to Brown. Boy, setting up was Kessler on the outside, and that ball came back in. Again, Neibauer, second time, look at that smile. She's like, yeah, my bad. She's laughing at it.
And that's a great give and take with this battery, is that they can laugh about things like that, but then come back, and then the expression on Neibauer's face there came back. They got the strikeout, and she just pointed to her catcher and said, nice call, good job.
And what did Neibauer mouth? Let's go!
Yeah.
That's a very popular phrase to yell, and that's even my bad lip reading, I can read that.
Well, they have a team model that just says, we ball regardless. So they just get out and get after anybody and everybody, doesn't matter who.
Hadley Madlock, great piece of hitting right up the middle with a 2-out single here in the 5th. And Madlock will go out. And Watkins Schnoning.
10 for the catcher, 10 for the catcher.
So Madeline Wade will come in to bat. She's 0 for 2.
Batting first baseman, Madeline Wade.
4-2 here in the 5th. Wade trying to extend that inning. That pitch is a ball to Wade. Wilton scored a run in the 1st and in the 3rd. Regina had 2 in the 1st, 1 in the 3rd, and 1 in the 4th. That ball is hit slowly to short. Supel across, gets away from Panther. To the fence it goes. Watkins Schoening goes to 3rd, and it'll be 1st and 3rd with 2 outs here in the 5th. So Wilton not done yet. Now it'll be Kaylee Koss. Just thinking we hadn't had an error all day, Laura. That's our first error of the day.
We got time.
Been pretty clean so far to this point, and you know, you asked about when is that 2-run cushion comforting. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, you'd like to have 3-run cushion, maybe a 4-run cushion if you could, but you just gotta have the defense to back you up right now and have confidence in your pitcher.
Coming up between innings, we'll have a little conversation here for you with a special guest in pink attire. If that gives you any clue who we're going to be talking to. 2 outs for Kaylee Koss. First pitch, chopper, slow roller to 3rd. Chambliss across to Panther, and that'll end the rally. So the Beavers leave a pair. We go to the bottom of the 5th, 4-2 Regina, looking to extend their lead. get some of that runs and maybe give themselves a little bit more breathing room here in the 5th. And Gene Berger is our special guest, the executive director of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. You got to chase all those softballs down. Good thing you got staff that does that for you.
Looks like I'm out there running after them. Isn't that an awesome idea?
You get to do the presentations. Has that surprised anybody?
I think after we did it one time, everyone caught on, and they are looking forward to it now. So
because when you come into the stands, they usually think you're kicking somebody out.
Correct. So it's changing my reputation quickly.
Is that something just for the championship game, or has that been all week long?
Just for the championship game.
I think that's a nice touch.
Very nice, yes.
I have to read one thing for you here, and it was something I was asked about one of the players, Taylor Drapel. I asked her about being in the championship game, and I said she's looking forward to the intensity of the game. She goes, I want the pink shirt.
Of all the things we do and the investment we make in our championship, a pink cotton t-shirt and a bag tag are the two most coveted items by our athletes.
Well, you're on with branding, Jean.
Absolutely. Well, the pink t-shirts is the only people who get them are the state champions. And so they are very coveted because they're not available to just anyone.
Kessler hits it in front of Surata and Wright for a leadoff single here in the bottom of the 5th. It'll be Kessler, Neibauer, and Gabby Supel. We're staying in Fort Dodge for a while? We're going to be here?
Well, we signed a 5-year agreement, and then on top of that, we have 5 more 1-year deals. So it could be a total of a 10-year stay here in Fort Dodge.
And there's, can we, after this pitch, hit again towards right. This one, though, is going to hang up enough for Surata to make the grab for the out. Can we say yet what's happening next here at the complex for you?
I think probably what will happen next is facility upgrades, some of the infrastructure. They have plans to put lights down on Dodger and Veterans and maybe take another baseball field and make a softball field. So that would leave us with 5 lighted fields, which would be awesome for more night games, get out of the heat, maybe look at some format changes.
Again to right field, and again a base hit. Going to third, getting away from Clark. Here comes the throw. The tag is made at the plate. Kessler is thrown out 5-2 on a ball that got away. For the second out, let's watch that replay. It was high over her head. It perfectly bounced back, and Kessler was out. Yeah, she's not in the baseline. She's way inside, right, Laura?
It's what it looked like from our angle here, is that she was where she was supposed to be and reached out with the tag.
Yep, I agree. I agree. There's no obstruction. We have Yep.
Are you okay if the umpires talk?
I like it.
Do you like it that we have them mic'd?
I do. I thought especially during the 4A game when there were some calls, the obstruction play, winner set at the plate that allowed DCG's run, I thought, boy, it was nice to have an explanation right from the home plate umpire. So I do, it adds to it. I would say I like the coaches being mic'd most of the time.
We only had a 3-letter word said in the first game. Oh, you heard that?
Yes.
Okay. That's been known. We've had other things from him that we've quietly ducked out. Connor punches it to right. That will for sure get the run home. Touching home is Gabby Supel. Kennedy Connor. Welcome to state tournament softball. The freshman delivers again. Let's see it again.
What a great job of going with that pitch, taking it out to right field. And you're right, as a freshman, she is not fazed by any of this at all. She goes up there with so much confidence and swings a really good bat.
I wish I had that much confidence.
Oh, you do.
Well, if you were an Iowa girl, you would.
That's right. That's right, Gene.
All right, so we're staying in Fort Dodge, but you're adding something in Iowa City.
Yes.
2 things, actually.
2 things in Coralville, actually.
That'll be our next, volleyball will be our next action.
Yep.
And then wrestling.
And then wrestling in February. We just
Slow roller to Clark, gets the out.
We just had our site visit for volleyball, and they actually had it set up. And oh my goodness, it's going to look great in that arena because, you know, you can turn the lights out and there's pink spotlights and just a lot of atmosphere improvements for us in volleyball coming in Coralville. So I'm really looking forward to that.
And then there's another event there that'll be new.
Girls wrestling, Thursday, Friday. 32 qualifiers in 14 different weight classes. Finals on Friday. So we have over 100 schools who've committed to girls wrestling programs. We anticipate upwards to 1,200 girls will be wrestling this year in Iowa.
For now, we're going to stay with just one class.
One class, and really, we're being really flexible. If you have 3 girls, you can have a program, right? You don't need a whole team of wrestlers, so you can have a program. Makes it a lot easier to cooperative share. So if 3 or 4 schools want to go together, they can.
Is that so? Will there be a overall team winner and then individual winners, or how is that going to be set up?
So there will be 3 places for team based on the individuals. There will not be a duel. There will not be a team duel champion as the boys have. We just don't have enough schools yet that have enough full teams to run a dual tournament.
But I'm guessing that's not going to stay that way very long.
I'm guessing not either. I think won't be long before we'll have enough schools that will add a dual tournament as well.
Are you in your 6th year?
7th.
7th year. So when you started 7 years ago, did you anticipate girls wrestling would be here so quick, so fast?
No, not at all. You just don't know what's going to take off, right? You just don't know what's the next great thing going to be. So we started with 100 when I started monitoring it. Then it was 300, then it was 700, and now it's over 1,100. So
Ganser throws, hits it across the field, and it's going to be off the glove of Panther at first. So Ganser is going to be on with an error. So that'll bring in Katie Hook. Taylor Drapel and Kinsey Drake could still bat here in this inning. Wilton trails 5-2, looking to make a little action. They're down to their last 6 outs. Yes, wrestling's taken off. Softball. I need to go back to softball on something. When you mentioned the Diamonds, and you said something, if I remember, I heard you right. I'm translating it as format change. Is that coming?
I think we're talking about it. I think we're a ways away from a format change. But the advantage of summer is we don't miss classes, and we have the infrastructure to run a different format if we want to. But you know, anytime you build something, it takes longer. You know, takes longer than you think, and so I don't really know when all the facility improvements that Fort Dodge has on the books will come to fruition. They have some coming from Iowa Central for their softball program that will help as well.
Hook with the great grab in foul territory, comes from her shortstop spot to make the catch. Yes, it takes a while to get things up to speed. So if a coach or a school feels a certain way about the direction of this tournament, will that come from the coaches committee, your school principal committee? How does that, just walk me through that process.
Mostly it starts with us. Mostly it starts with our staff, and our softball administrator is Jason Esslinger. And so we always sit down and try to come up with ways on how we can improve the championship. It may be as simple as giving a home run ball to mom, right? Or it may be a format change. A good example would be swimming. We used to have a one-day state tournament.
Drapel hits it in the left for a base hit. 2 on, 1 out.
All timed, and now we have prelims and a 2-day state tournament in swimming. We've changed bowling. So it really depends on, we probably come up with the idea and then we send it out for comment. All coaches, our softball advisory committee is probably the most influential in terms of something like that as well.
So I'm going to go a little different direction.
Thanks, Laura.
Because I'll keep asking.
I know. I'm going to try to get you off the hook here. No, seen a lot of college coaches here. And do you get the calls? Do you get the numbers or notification of who's coming and that kind of thing? Are the number of college coaches coming to look at our Iowa talent increasing?
Increasing. We set aside some specific areas for them so they can actually come in, and they do a lot of timing, but it is increasing. And I think one of the things when you talk about Iowa softball is we played in the summer. And people say, why do you do that? Well, one of the benefits is all those college coaches' seasons are over, and they can watch high school softball in Iowa every night. They can get a look at a 6th, 7th grader in junior high and follow them, or an 8th grader playing up. So it's a tremendous evaluation tool for them. And then once they get to the tournament, they come and they can watch all games in one location. So I think it really, really helps the Iowa girl in softball to get noticed on our high school team by us playing in the summer and playing in one site, all classes.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, you look through our program and you talk to these coaches and players, all these players that are going to go on, doesn't matter what division, they're going to go on and get an education. They're going to get to fulfill their dream of playing at the next level. And I think we have the stage to ourselves here.
Yeah. I think anecdotally, I would just tell you the thing I've noticed is the Division I increases. Mississippi State, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa State, Drake, you and I, they're always here because they're recruiting Iowa kids. But the actual D1, SEC, Missouri, all of those schools locally that come and recruit here at the state tournament is increasing.
All right, so what we just had unfold in front of you was runner interference. The runner is out at third. Both home and third called that. Right on top of that call, as we see, as the player has the right to field the ball, and she did not have that. Is that?
Yeah, that's correct.
Did I get that right?
There was just no way that they could avoid that collision. Everybody was there at the same time, and I just don't think there was any way to avoid that. And thus the runner is out.
All right, last question, Gene.
Yes, sir.
Easy or hard? No, I'm good. Best story you've seen from the week here?
Oh, gosh.
Or moment.
Best moment. Davis County has never been to a state tournament in softball. And just their faces when they walked in, their ability to win a game in the consolations and going home, and just the experience that they had. They were so thankful and so appreciative. I love that kind of a story. So I'm very glad they got to experience a state softball tournament for their school.
And we thank you for your hospitality here at the tournament.
You're always welcome here, Paul and Laura.
Thank you, Gene. Take care of your
Gene.
shoulder,
Thank
too.
you. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, Gene Berger, Executive Director of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union, and our guest here for the last inning and a half. First pitch swung on and hit by Jillian Panther, and she's going to be on base as that one gets away from Drapel. Lead off the sixth here, 5-2. Regina still in the lead. That's going to be an error on Drapel. And Laura, I could ask Jean questions all day, but we have to let her actually, do things. And she just loves listening to my questions. Again, Paul, another question. But she's still here, and she doesn't have the microphone on anymore, so I won't do any more questions. But that one's lifted. Now foul territory, trying to make the diving stop is Drapel. She lays out, kicks up a pigpen amount of dust. Kind of looks like pigpen on her pants after she makes that play. Good hustle.
Those are the kind of efforts we've seen all week long from all these players. They just give 100% going, laying out flat, trying to catch balls, diving in the outfield. We have seen some tremendous defensive plays throughout the week.
Morgan Gann swings at it, and diving catch. This time in the grass made by Drake for the out. One gone. And another good grab. Another great web play. So we move on here in the 6th. Avery Keys, the top of the order, up for Regina. As the sun starts to make a little bit more of a harsh look, as have a little adjustment. I don't know if that's a contact. I think that's what we're dealing with. I think it's Drapel.
Well, all that dirt she kicked up over there in the foul ground, probably, if she is wearing contacts, gets underneath, and boy, that hurts.
Feels like sandpaper, doesn't it?
It's awful.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, you said right there at the end, get better, Jean. Surgery here recently for her, for recovery.
Little rotator cuff. Out throwing batting practice.
Yep, so which means she didn't throw her annual batting practice. Wouldn't that be something? That's part of the job of the executive director.
Maybe we should tell her to put that in to enhance the state tournament.
Slapped, and it's going to hang up and be caught by Ganser. Great move to her right. And there's 2 away here as Keys is taken out. Why aren't we standing more often? That's a good idea. That'll bring up Danny Laughlin. Laughlin with a single in the 1st and 3rd, struck out in the 4th, bats here in the 6th with a runner at 1st. Hits it in the air, going back over the head of Ganser. Chugging around is Panther. She's going to be waved in. Here comes the throw. Not in time. And it's a triple for Danny Laughlin. That thing just kept going, Laura. I even underestimated how well that was hit.
Ganser kind of got turned around. She thought she had it. It sailed a little bit on her. She went one way and then turned the feet the other way, and then all of a sudden realized it's going to be over her head, and she had to turn and run to the fence.
So Laughlin at 3rd. As Panther scores and opens up a 4-run advantage for the Regals. As this game gets closer to the 2-hour mark. That one goes high and out of the zone by Brown.
I think those hitting lessons have paid off for Laughlin. She's hit the ball really well today.
The 1-1, fouled back into the net. Courtney Kessler thinks at the plate, next pitch mentalities. She kind of just, some players are really good at thinking like a goldfish. If I could steal a line from Ted Lasso.
Yeah, and you have to. You can't let it wear on you, even if you swing at a bad pitch, or whatever it might be. If you have an error in the outfield or infield, forget about it. It's just, let's go on to the next pitch, the next play, and you can't let those things weigh on you. And I think she's figured out a way to do that.
Kessler 1-2, punches it right, but foul. She'll do it again. Kessler with a couple of RBIs back in the quarterfinal game. Which was against Van Meter. Van Meter had teams qualify in both baseball and state softball. Popped up on the infield, coming over and making the grab is Drapel. Let's hear what coaches are saying now as Wilton getting towards the witching hour.
You gotta believe in yourself. We've done it before. Let's go. Come on now.
Great teams come from behind.
Yep.
And we're gonna do that right now. Let's go.
Let's go.
It's a 3, 1, 2, 3, hits. Come on.
Hey, I need you to
Well, how'd we get here? Laura, we got here with some very spread out, pretty exciting early on. First inning, first pitch. Wilton loaded the bases, and it was singles by Drapel and Surata, and an RBI by Hadley Madlock, and then Regina came back in their half of the first and pushed across 2 runs. Laughlin and Keys both scored, and then it was a big blast right there from Wilton. It was a home run by Peyton Surata in the 3rd. Then Regina, that was Courtney Kessler with a single, and this is in the 4th. Just hit after hit for the Regals as Jillian Panther had the RBI. That 4th inning just kind of kept going, as did the 5th, as the Regals were able to score. And they've scored in the 1st, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. How they, just good hitting and timely hitting, right?
Yeah, they've only had 1 inning where they were put down in order, and every other inning they have scored at least 1 run. So just systematically getting runners on, moving them around, getting a key clutch hit, finding the gap, and pushing those runs across. And you heard in the Wilton huddle, great teams can come back. And that's what they're hoping they can do.
Swing and a miss. Charlotte Brown up. On deck is Hadley Madlock. My apologies to the Wilton fans. I have been saying the wrong first name in this game, and thank you for your patience and understanding. Not an intentional. This is Charlotte Brown. Charlotte Brown at the plate. The 1-1 is swung on and missed.
Boy, after every pitch, Nybauer keeps looking in at the catcher, and that's what you saw a little bit of the pitch before that, some of those hand signals between the 2 of them. They are just in sync right now.
What did Coach say from Regina early on? I was a little worried. It was concerning.
Yeah, just never knew what they were talking about, what they were saying. They have their own language.
Charlotte Brown leads off the 7th with a single. She's trying to keep this game going for the Beavers.
And that's how you do it. The leadoff hitter gets on, and then you start stringing them together.
The catcher, Hadley Madlock.
You say she's a gamer. This is the time to be a gamer right here. Keep the lineup moving.
Hadley embraces the role of a catcher. Her twin sister, Grace, will be pitching hopefully next year. Well, that's going to be tough. Nice play to the hole. Gets away from first base. Brown's going to motor over to 3rd. And the Beavers have 2 on. Nobody out here in the 7th. Back-to-back base runners, and that's a hit.
That was in the hole, and a tough play for Supel. Had to hurry that throw, and it's just offline. Panther could not get over and keep that in front. And that was just a tough play.
Okay, so it's a hit and an error. Okay, it's both. And now we have a runner. Eve Watkins-Schoening. Getting a little tense. You don't earn a state championship easily. You got to earn this one.
Well, Iowa City Regina has been the team that has been the comeback team of this tournament. Wilton trying to turn the tables on them, seeing if they can come back in this ball game.
Emily Meyer of North Union, Aurora Stapleton of Central Springs, Piper Brandon.
It's a 4-run deficit. You can do it on one swing, but the first part is having base runners, and so far Wilton's been able to do it here in the 7th. The 0-1. Hit to the right side. Nice bouncing play. Run scores. Clark to Panther, out number 1. So Wilton gets 1. Watkins Schoening goes to 2nd. Wade is retired.
You get the out, you give up the run, but you're willing to do that with that little bit of a cushion that you had. Going back, you asked about that 2-run cushion, and they were able to add to that, so that gives them a little bit more breathing room here.
First pitch to Kaylee Koss is a ball.
Your strategy might have been a little different if it was only a 2-run lead on how you would have played that. Would you have given up the run to get the out, or would you try to keep that runner in check?
Slow roller to short. Supple over. Runner trying to advance. They hold it. Chambliss says don't throw because they don't want it thrown away. And Koss is gone on the ground ball out. And just like that, Wilton is down to their last out, and it's up to Peyton Ganser, the senior. Tying run is on deck.
I mean, a really smart play by Panther to just hold on to that ball and not throw it, try to get the runner over there advancing to 3rd.
It's just after 7 o'clock here. The shadows starting to make their way a little bit longer on the diamond. Ganser, the 0-1 pitch, hit well to left. Over the head of Gann in left, and a run's gonna score. And it's a double for Peyton Ganser. The game is not over yet. Don't count the Beavers out.
Well, Ganser waited back, got an off-speed pitch, and able to level off the swing and drive it out to left field to knock in another run, and now gets a little closer.
Katie Hook, the sophomore, will come in. She represents the tying run. The go-ahead run steps to the on deck. You'd love to get this to Taylor Drapel if you could. Neibauer heaves one in.
She's the type of hitter that can drop one down. She's got a lot of speed. She's going to take a peek and see where the corners are playing. And Chambliss was charging the last time.
Katie Hook 0 for 3, trying to change her stat line. Find a way to get on base. 4-11-2 for Wilton. 6-9-3 for Regina. The 2-0 pitch from Neibauer on the way. Hit in the air, playable, but drifting back up against the fence, making the catch for the out is Gann, and it's a state championship for the Iowa City Regina Regals. Wilton made it interesting in the 7th.
They did, and they came up in that last at-bat knowing they had to manufacture some runs, and they did. They made it closer. They were threatening, and they were able to get that last out. I'm telling you what, I know everybody was holding their breath on that fly ball out to Gann as she was able to pull it in, but it was right up against the fence. Not a whole lot of room to spare.
The wind has shifted just a little more to right than it was. And if it was maybe an hour ago, we might still be playing.
Yeah. What a great effort, though, by Wilton to try to come back and make it a ball game, threaten in the bottom half or the top of the 7th. And that's the way they played all season long.
The Regals wave those pink shirts to their fans. We get them, we got them. The Regals state champions in 11, 16, 17, and now you can add 22 to the list. We'll have our all-tournament team, and then the 2 trophies presented. And then we'll step away and still have one more championship game here on Friday night.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the infield for the awards ceremony. Presenting the Class 2A All-Tournament team medals is Farm Bureau Board of Director member Andy Hill. Here is your 2022 Class 2A All-Tournament team. From Regina, Jillian Panther.
Still good for coming back on at 7:30.
Jillian Panther. From Wilton, Charlotte Brown. From North Union, Emily Meyer. From Central Springs, Aurora Stapleton. From Louisa Muscatine, Piper Brandt. From Central Springs, Abby Pate. From Van Meter, Macy Blumgren. From Regina Catholic, Emma Nybauer. From Wilton, Peyton Serrata. From Regina Catholic, Danny Laughlin. And your Class 2A All-Tournament Team Captain. From Wilton, Taylor Drapel.
The all-tournament team makes their way for their group photo to be etched in time. Taylor Drapel, the captain of the team, and I don't have any fault in that. I mean, her tournament, outstanding. At one point, I think she was it 9 of 11 or 9 of 12?
Yeah, she was 3 for 3 here in this ball game with 1 walk, and so she had quite a tournament here, and just not enough, though, to get her team the state championship.
One more item to do, and that is present trophies. Class 2A is fun, I'll tell you, and so in 1A to come. But there's just such great games. There was a lot of doubt in this game up until the last out.
It was. I mean, Wilton, you heard him say that in the huddle that, you know, great teams make a comeback, and they tried.
Now for the trophy presentation. In addition to receiving medallions, every participating player will receive a commemorative softball provided by Iowa Farm Bureau, title sponsor of the Girls Athletic Union. Presenting awards are members of the IGHSAU Board of Directors, Ron Fodness and Travis Fleshner. Congratulations to the runners-up in Class 2A, head coach Courtney Dankman and the Wilton Beavers on an outstanding 2022 softball season. And presenting your 2022 Class 2A State Softball Champions, head coach Angela Kessler and the Regals from Regina Catholic.
Never gets old to see the champions hoist the trophy and sprint to the finish. Regals, they kept grinding and grinding. They stopped the bleeding early in that first inning, and it kind of felt their way the rest.
Well, and for a team that thought that this might be a rebuilding year, they found their way midway through the season and caught fire down the stretch, and now they're state champs.
Coach is saying a lot of nice job out of you, kid. Congratulations, Iowa City Regina, your state champions in Class 2A. We've hit our midway point. We're going to our third and final game. 2A is done. Twin Cedars Southeast Warren and 1A is next for all of us here at Iowa PBS. Thank you so very much for watching. Congratulations to the champs and all those who participated. So long from Fort Dodge.
Funding provided by...
You work hard to feed them well. That's why at Fairway, we're committed to our foundation of personalized service while treating our customers like family and valuing our employees. Fairway Meat and Grocery, that's what we're all about.
By Muscle Lighting, the sports lighting specialists, providing lighting systems for you, your project, and your community.